Okay, so I just got home from work and I know there's a package I've been waiting on. It's in the mail. Came from Poland, so I'm here. Okay, so I just got home from work. Got a package in the mail. Let's go see what it is. There's the Civic. Got my Crocs on, ready to go. I hope it's in here. Yep, there it is. Let's get inside and see what it is. Okay, so here we go. So I got impatient as usual and went ahead and I've had this open and out and made it fit the truck, so more or less so I could prepare for the video better. So here we go. I'm going to show you guys. This is an Artful Dodgers. You see the logo sticker on, it's just a sticker on there. This is a behind the axle servo mount for F10 axles. So let's get this out of the way. Okay, so you can see I've already got a hold. It's got this cute, cool little sticker thing with their logo on it. I put a couple of stickers on the back window. Thought it looked pretty neat, so I'm gonna save that for later. Okay, and here's your bag of hardware. I'll go ahead and open that up. Put this on with the axle on the truck, which I don't recommend. And so I took it off this time for the video, so you'll see that in just a minute. Okay, so let's see if I can sort these out for you. Okay, we got this long screw, which I didn't use. I'll explain later. This little shim, never did find out where that's intended to go because maybe it didn't fit the aluminum axle. So this one is used. I didn't use that nut. I'll explain that in a minute. These two longer screws, what goes in the third member, holds it on the third member. And some of these shorter ones are actually the servo screws themselves. And this long one I don't remember, so it almost looks like I'm missing one. We'll figure that out in a minute. I didn't use the servo screws that came with it. I'll explain that. The washers are, those are servo screws too. I think, if I remember right, I'm missing one of these. The servo screws and two of these other screws are the same, so I need these two. So here it is. Now this thing is CNC cut out of steel. It's got some kind of anodized coating or something on it that I assume will keep it from rusting. And then the pieces are TIG welded together, which is super strong. So what started this all is I had the Vanquish piece on mine, and I broke it. I broke it within about an hour of use. So the way this thing mounts, it goes on the third member here, and then this one mounts right here to the upper link mount, and then the other link mount right here. So it's not a whole lot of bracing on it, and they say it's real critical that this third member screw is really tight. So and then there's no support on this side and everything. So if I'm totally honest, I took a couple of really hard falls this day when it broke. So but I don't think there's quite enough material. Now I reached out to them and they replaced it no problem. So but I had already ordered this piece. I want to make dang sure I don't ever have that problem again. So it has room all the way around. Now they say this does not fit with the Vanquish VFD transmission, So I'm not using that, so that's not a problem, but just so you know. But you got 2 third member mounts, another mount here for the upper link, and then the lower shock mount, that's where this piece goes right here to hold it down. So it's got, and then a nut on the other side. So this thing is going to be super strong. So I'm going to go through the install. So because here's one thing I got to show you too. Right here you can see where I did some grinding. This is made to go in a slot on the plastic third member right there. I tried to find mine, I lost it for some reason, the plastic one, but I've got the aluminum one. So I just took my Dremel and took my time and slowly cut that same shape. Now if this was aluminum, I would just go ahead and cut that off because that would break off, but because this is steel, I think it'll hold up, and I got it to where it fits really snug, so it should be even extra support. So it goes on like this. So because I'm doing all aluminum, you want to use, let me get these unused pieces out of the way. Because it's all aluminum, we need some Loctite, so I'll just put some Loctite down on the table. Makes this a little easier. So these screws, I think this is where it's important that you do it with the axle off. Let's dip it in there. These third member screws, wait a minute, that's the wrong screw. Sorry about that. These are the longer, a little bit longer screws here. And you go ahead and put all these in loose so you can get them all started. So I'll pull them down just before snug, so it can have a little wiggle to it. Now because I don't have this on the truck, I'm going to show you this one. This screw goes through the I'm not going to put Loctite on it yet. This screw goes through the upper link and tightens down there. This piece goes here. This is one reason you got to leave a little wiggle room. And then the lower link mounts here. Now on my truck, I don't use the upper shock mount. I mount my shock down here on the lower link mount. So you can see right here, I've got a 40mm screw that goes through this piece. Now it threads here and here. Once you get all these tight, I try to get that in there first. Go ahead and get all these tight before you do this one. These need to be good and tight. Now because I have the aluminum, I've got the aluminum bearing carrier, and get a little bit more torque on there. I think I would highly recommend that on these. Now this one I'm just going to get kind of snug. You can see how this bolt fits really flush on the output. That's really good. Same thing. Oh, I was not missing a screw, turns out. This other screw will go through your upper link here. I'm just going to stick it in there for the sake of the video. Sorry for the noise in the background. I'm printing inserts to test this weekend, so that's what all that is about. So this is the other servo screw. Now I don't use those, and I'll show you why in just a minute. So I'm gonna go ahead and snug this one down. Now normally you would put your lower link through here. I'm not gonna put the axle just for sake of making the video too long. I should use a driver for this, but it's okay. So I guess I just discovered where that spacer goes. That other spacer, for whatever reason, looks like it's designed to go right here, because this piece is bottoming out, but I'm not using that, so that would explain that. So I use that screw with no spacer in it, and then I actually, the 40mm is a little longer, and I've got one of these 3mm nuts. I put a little Loctite on the screw and tighten that down, just give it a little extra stability. Not necessary, but I tend to overdo things a little bit sometimes. Doesn't hurt. So then the servo can go through, use a low profile servo. The servo can go in two different ways. If you want a little extra clearance, or need little extra clearance, you can put it in from the top, and they got this nice little slot right here. Nice little slot for the wires to come through. And then I run it through the chassis and over. So you can do it that way, but the servo sticks up a little high. You got way more than enough clearance. So if clearance is an issue, you don't want to drag the servo, you can mount it that way. But I'm using it from the bottom side. It sits almost a 1/4 inch lower doing it this way. You can see the difference. Sits there or there. So I'm mounting it from the bottom. So I'll go ahead and stick my wires through this way. That way the wire stays tucked up nice and out of the way. Now I put heat shrink on mine more or less for just cosmetic reasons, but it does give it a little extra protection there too. So next I'll take, and here's what I do, and I'm missing one screw, of course. I use a flathead screw, because it's got this conical shape to it. When you screw, and I've always done this on all my race cars and everything too, because it's got that conical shape down, it's just like a lug nut on a car. It centers it, it makes it concentric and centers it a lot better in my opinion. Can't wiggle around. They use these regular screws with washers, never have it like that, so this is how I do it. If I can get it started. And I've totally lost a screw here, so I'll come back to that later. Put these front ones in. Get them good and snug. Make sure you put the Loctite on it. You don't want these backing out. There's really is room to put a nut on the top side if you wanted to have a little extra assurance. Give it a good snug, and don't want to overdo it, because with a Loctite on it, you'll never get it out. So wait, found my other screw. I just use like a, looks like it's a 5mm long flathead. You can see, because I put those other ones in, this one's exactly centered. And that's all there is to it. Now, like I say, you got to finish it up, because you got to use this screw through the upper link, this one for the upper link. These two are done, and then because I use the shock on the lower position, I'll use a little bit longer screw. Normally it would have that spacer in there, and that would work out good. So, but it's nice and low. See, the servo's pretty much flush with the bottom of the axle tube. This probably will drag a little bit, but I'm not too worried about this servo. If I had a servo I cared more about, I might raise it up, but I'm trying to get the thing as low as possible for the lowest center of gravity, obviously. So there it is, the Artful Dodgers F10 behind the axle servo mount. Okay, there it is, all ready to go. I'm gonna get it back in the truck and try it out this weekend. I've already had it in the truck once to test fit everything and got it out on the rocks here at the house, and it seemed to be great. So this is going to hold up no problem. I said, if this breaks, you really got a big problem. So I think this is going to be solve that issue. It wasn't necessarily an issue, but it was something that I went ahead and someone had to worry about. Now the Vanquish one, or the plastic one, the metal one or the plastic one, is much lighter. I should have weighed it and told the difference, but this one is steel, and that's putting weight on the axle down kind of low, so I'm totally fine with that. So there's that. So also, I wanted to apologize for my new setup. The lighting is terrible in here. It's been bothering me a lot. I'm going to work on it. I've come to the conclusion that it's the color of the walls. So this weekend we're going to have a lot of rain tomorrow, and I'm caught up on all my RC stuff, so I'm planning on painting the room a lighter color. And then Sunday I'm getting out on the rocks and testing a whole bunch of tire inserts. So that's coming next. You can hear the printer going in the background. So I've got ruptures, 3 sets of ruptures. One with 2.2 wheels. They're all 1.9 ruptures. One with 2.2 wheels. One with 1.9 wheels. This is the one I just printed last night. And then these are going to be new tires, because that's the only one I got. I had one other set of wore out ones, and they were awful. So this one feels really good. So I've got 3 sets of ruptures. That's 2.2 wheels, 1.9 wheels. Oh, my other one is my regular go-to dual stage foams, and I'm going to test it against these. And then I've got the Megalithics 4.75. They feel great too. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to try to make a video with that, and make sure you like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we'll be right back with you.